All right, are you ready for subtraction? So I'm going to open up to the page I was on before, my adding and subtracting with decimals page, and obviously I'm out of room. So I'm going to go to the next page. I don't ever use the back because we're not going to run out of room in this, and I use pens what leaks through. So I'm going to use this fresh page. And for subtraction, because the rules are the same, we need to make sure that our numbers are lined up so that the place values are lined up like a chart. Our ones and ones, our tenths and tenths, our hundredths and hundredths, those are all in line. That is the same with subtraction, but there's a couple of things I want you to be aware of when you're subtracting with decimals. So we're going to say continued, or cont to show continued. And this is going to be specifically with subtraction on this page. And it's going to be what do we do? On the other side, I'm going to show why. So with subtraction, there's a few funky things like regrouping that I want you to be aware of. Why do we do that? So what do we do? Why? I would leave more room for the Y side, so I'm going to do mine a little bit off center here. A line going down. Okay. Let's start off with something pretty simple. So I'm going to start with 7.005. And we are going to subtract 2 decimal. Notice how I wrote it. They're lined up because they're both in the ones place. It means my decimals are lined up. 0.003. And remember, we're switching our brain. We are now subtracting. So in this, the same rules apply. Now we're just taking away. So if you have 5 minus 3 or take away 3, that would leave you with 2. 0 minus 0, still don't have anything. 0 minus 0, still 0. Our decimals come down. 7 minus 2 is 5. So 7 and 5 thousandths minus 2 and 3 thousandths would be 5 and 2 thousandths. Let's see how this looks with a place value chart. So I'm going to actually, right over here, I'm going to draw 3 lines. 1, 2, 3. On the left side, I want this to be our ones place. These are decimals right after it. Then we have our tenths, hundredths, and thousandths. Make sure you get this done. Okay, so for our first number, I'm going to just keep using that same pen. We start with 7 ones. And the trick is when you're writing or doing the dots, keep them in rows of 5. Once you get to 5, go down to the next row, because then our brain can easily see. Okay, I have 5 plus 2, I have 7. And 5 thousandths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can keep those all in one row because I only have 5 of them. And then here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use a different color to show what I'm taking away. So I'm taking away 2 ones, 0, 0, 3. I set up like that. So my 7 and 5 thousandths, I wrote with dots. But this one, I'm just going to write underneath just as a reference. So here's what this looks like. We have 5 thousandths. We need to take away 3. So I'm going to use that same color as my green of what I'm subtracting, and I'm going to cross off 3 of these. 1, 2, 3. How many are we left with in the thousandths? 2. How many are in the hundredths? We don't have to take any away. I didn't start with any. That is still going to be a 0. Same with in my tenths. I didn't start with any. I'm taking nothing away. I still have nothing there. And now in my ones place, I started with 7. I need to take away 2. I'm going to subtract 1, 2. what does that leave us with? How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's our answer. We had 7, I took away 2. We had 5, I took away 3. Let's look at what this looks like if we have to regroup. So I'm going to draw a line underneath. Let's do a problem where I need to regroup. So in this case, let's start with 0.831. And I'm going to subtract 0 decimal, so those are lined up, 292. Again, we're subtracting. If you struggle with regrouping with subtraction, we suggested last week, and maybe even the week before, that you do the Khan Academy prep course for subtracting. These are things you've been doing, I think, 4th grade, 3rd grade, and even some 2nd grade. So if you struggle with this, I suggest going back to the Khan Academy to practice that regrouping. So in this case, we used to solve, or we still solve, we have 1, we need to take away 2. That's not possible. So that's when you have to look to the left and say, okay, I'm going to take away from the 3. That 3 is going to become a 2. My 1 then, I need to add 10 to that. So 1 plus 10, that's now going to be an 11. Now I can subtract. What is 11 take away 2? There's a couple ways. You can count backwards, or you can count up from 2. 11 minus 2 is 9. Continue to subtract. 2 minus 9. I can't do that. I can't take 9 away from 2. So I have to look to the left again. I'm going to take 1 away from the 8, so that becomes a 7. Taking 1 away from here adds 10 to that 2. So now I have 12. Now I can subtract. If I have 12, I'm taking away 9. What does that leave me with? And then my 10th place, if I have 7, and I take away 2, that leaves me with 5. The decimal drops down, and 0 minus 0 is 0. This is so similar to what you've been doing for a couple of years now. The tricky part of this is just remembering how to subtract accurately. So again, if you struggled with this, you want to go back, work on the Khan Academy lessons to refresh your brain. Okay, let's talk about why does this work? Why does the borrowing or regrouping, why does that work? So I'm going to make the same thing I did up here. In fact, I don't think I'm going to label it this time because I have them labeled up here. I'm just going to extend these lines. The number we started with, I had, so I'm going to put my decimal here, 8 in the 10th place. So I'm going to draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Remember we make rows of 5. 6, 7, 8. I had 3 in the hundredths. 1, 2, 3. I have 1 in the thousandth place. And we are going to subtract. I'm actually going to leave a space of room because I know what I'm going to be doing, so I need a little bit of room. I'm going to be subtracting 0 decimal 292. Sorry about that. Turn back on the light. Okay. And let's solve. I should actually make these go down a little bit more. There we go. Okay. So starting on with our smallest unit, our thousandths over here. I have 1. I need to take away 2. I only have 1. How am I supposed to take 2 away? This is where that regrouping comes from. I'm actually going to take 1 from here, one of those dots, and when I bring it to my thousandths place, that becomes 10. Because 10 thousandths and 1 thousandth is the exact same thing. I'm going to write that on my chart here just so you can see. Here's me drawing 10 thousandths. So here's my thousandths place. I need my 10 to end there. That looks like that. 10 thousandths. All right, now I'm going to show you what 1/100th looks like. Here's my hundredths. 1. 1/100th, 10 thousandths are the exact same thing. They have the same value. So I just took 1/100th away, and that became 10 thousandths. Now can I take away 2? I can. 1, 2. What does that leave me with? Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm left with 9 thousandths, just like what we did over here. I took 1 away from the 3 and it became a 2. And that 1, I added 10 to it, so it became 11. And then you could subtract 2 from that. Let's do the next one. I have 2. I need to take away 9. It's not possible. I have to do the same thing. I'm going to go over to my, this was an 8. And I'm going to take away 1 from there. And I'm going to add 10 to the column before it. And I can do that because 1/10 is the same thing as 10 hundredths. So here's 1/10, 10 hundredths. Those are the same thing. That 0 has no value. It's like saying I have 1 dime or 10 pennies. Gets you the same thing. I took away a dime and I added 10 pennies instead. Same value. Now I can take away 9. So what I just did, looking over here, what did we do? I couldn't do 2 minus 9. I took 1 away from the 8, became a 7. And that 2, I added 10 to it, it became a 12. Now I can subtract 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That leaves me with 2. Oh, sorry, I missed one over here. 3 left over, which is what I had over here. And now this one's nice. Right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 left. I need to take away 2 of them. 1, 2. That leaves me with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And nothing over there. So that's why we regroup. Again, if you're struggling with this, please go back to the Khan Academy. It really will help you understand how to subtract with regrouping, because I know it can be tricky and I know we may have forgotten. All right, I want to do one last problem. So I'm going to draw another line. And my last problem is going to be this. I'm going to write it vertically. I have 6. And I want to take away 0.48 or 48 hundredths. Now I'm going to write this vertically, going up and down, because we don't solve subtraction like this. We always set it up so that our place values are lined up. But in order to do that, I can figure out where is that 6. It's just a normal 6, 6 ones. So if I'm looking at my place value chart, here's my ones. That means the decimal comes right after it, like this. Then I can write what I'm subtracting underneath it. Okay. Think of money. This is like having $6, and I'm subtracting 48 cents. Here's my suggestion, because I see this every year. Kids just say, oh, I can just write 4 and 8 here. No, you cannot. Here's why. On this 6, do you have any tenths? Nope. Add a 0. Do you have any hundredths? Nope. Add a 0. You cannot just drop down your 4 and your 8 because it's not 48 minus 0. You're saying you have 0, you have nothing. You need to take away 8. You have some work to do. All right, so I'm going to solve. 0 minus 8, I can't do. I look to the left. Can I take anything away from 0? No. So I need to go all the way to the 6 and regroup. I'm going to take 1 away from the 6, so that becomes a 5. That means this 0, I'm going to add 10 to it. 0 plus 10 becomes 10. But I have to regroup all the way back to my hundredths place. So I'm actually going to take something away from that 10, and it becomes a 9. And my 0 over here, I add 10 to it, becomes a 10. Now I can solve. 10 minus 8 is 2. 9 minus 4 is 5. My decimals drop down. 5 minus 0 is 5. Do not forget to add your zeros. There is regrouping that needs to be done. Because look, it's not a 4 and an 8. It's a 5 and a 2. Because if we think about it, $6 minus 48 cents would be $5.52. Wouldn't it be $5.48? I'm taking that away from $1, which leaves 52 cents. Let's see the why. Why does this work here? So I'm going to do the same thing. My place value chart here. And I'm going to start. This is my ones place. I'm just going to write it because it's way up here now. And you have 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in one row. And there's my 6. And I am taking away, I'm going to leave some room because I know I might need to regroup because this told me. I am taking away 0, decimal, 4, 8. Okay. So here's the why. Why does this regrouping work? You have nothing. You need to take away 8 from it. It's not possible. So I can't borrow from here because there's nothing here. So I'm going to go over to my ones. I'm going to get rid of, I'm going to think of money in this case. I'm going to take $1 and I'm going to exchange that for some dimes. That gives me 10 dimes. Okay, now I need to make some pennies. So I'm going to take away one of my dimes and I'm going to get 10 pennies for it. There we go. So what I just did, I took $1 away and I got 10 dimes for it. Then I took a dime away and I got 10 pennies for it. Now I can subtract. So I have 10 pennies, taking away 8 pennies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That leaves me with 2 pennies. Now over here, I have 9 dimes. I need to take away 4 dimes. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that leaves me with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dimes left over. Don't forget about my decimal. I had $6. I had to exchange $1 to make some change. So I'm left with $5. All right, I hope this makes sense. Again, if you're struggling with the regrouping, these are things we should know by now. So go back, do the Khan Academy. Let's do some practice. So in your problem set, when you open it up, the first thing I see is my lesson 9 that I did earlier. I'm going to take that, rip it out, and put it inside of my math folder. Then we have the lesson 9 exit ticket. You're going to need this. So take it, rip it out, put it inside your math folder. Lesson 10 application. We didn't do that today because you already needed to know how to add decimals. And of course, that was today's lesson. So we didn't do this yesterday. Take it out, add it into your math folder. Now we're on lesson 10. Lost my pencil. Here we go. So this is similar to what we did before. So let's do A together. 5/10 minus 2/10. How many tenths does that leave me with? 3/10. And what does that look like as a decimal? I should have a 3 in my tenths place. It should be right there. Now let's do this one. 5 ones, 9 thousandths, minus 2 ones. So am I going to take away that 2 from the 5 or the 9? It's 2 ones, so I need to take it away from my 5 ones. How many ones are you left with? How many thousandths does that leave you with? And what does that look like as a decimal? I want you to solve B and C, and just solving like normal. I'd like you to do question A, question B, and question C. All right, when you're done solving, I want you to come back and check your work. Good job, everybody.